Hello and welcome to the video. This video is all about this little model here. This is the Armattan Tadpole that came out this week. Now this is the smallest quadcopter that Armattan has made. It's available as a frame for $34. You can buy it with a frame with all the kit parts. These are all the kit parts inside the frame itself, or you can buy it as a ready to fly. Now it's interesting to compare the Armattan Tadpole with some of its bigger brothers. If I get one of the more modern frames, the bigger ones, this is a 5/16 frame, this is the Armattan Badger. You can see here it's the standard Armattan layout, battery goes on the top, you have the titanium hardware around things like the camera to protect everything, all covered by that Armattan warranty, and this is a pretty standard sized quad that we're all used to. Then, for those of you that have been watching the channel, you'll remember that I looked at the Gecko. Now, I managed to get my Gecko quite easily under the 250 gram limit. Now, when I got this, I thought this was quite a dinky little model. It behaves and performs as though it's a little 5-inch model and is a great option if you want to have a quad that's going to sneak under the 250 gram limit. And I thought that that was going to be as small as Armattan was going to get, until I saw this. And this Tadpole makes the Gecko look positively huge. Now this model is actually set up to run on either a 2S or a 3S battery, and with my 3S battery on the top here, ready to fly, this is coming in at a whopping 114 grams. Now we're starting to get into kind of toothpick realms of weight. But this is absolutely an Armattan frame through and through. The layout is exactly the same. There is no little plastic parts that are going to break, and the frame again is covered by the Armattan warranty. So if you do manage to snap something, you can get it replaced very easily. Now the frame itself is 17.5 grams, motor to motor dimensions is 119.5 millimeters. It's a compressed X. The plate thickness is 2 millimeters. All of the hardware on here are M2 bolts, and it's a 9 millimeter mounting pattern. But it's only when you start to really look closely at this you start to spot some of the cute stuff. So for example, the top plate isn't actually level, it actually slopes down towards the rear of the model, and that's to save weight, so that the metal pieces on here, which are aluminium this time, not titanium, they can shave a little bit of weight off by having a smaller aluminium piece at the back. And again, in that aluminium piece you can see there's also the standard rubber mounts that you've got for the antenna. Now inside of this little model, the way that Armattan have built it, it is built like a Swiss watch. It's a really cute way of using the compressed space. So if you're going to build one of these yourself, have a look at these images and hopefully it will help you figure out how to put yours together. So this has a little 12 amp ESC running D-Shot. There's a Runcam Nano 2 at the front. There is a TBS Unified Pro F4 based flight controller. We have the Micro Omni right-hand circular polarized antenna at the back, and I've gone for the FR Sky RXSR. Now by default that'll be the international version. If you need it with another lot of firmware, let the guys at Armattan know if you're going to order a ready to fly. Motor size is 1103 8000 kV. And the recommended battery for this that the tune is set for is a 3S 450 milliampere hour. Now I've not got a 450, I'm flying it with a 550 and it is flying beautifully. But before we get into all of that stuff, let me just take you through the beta flight settings, because the tune on this is really good as well. And this is one of the things that Chris does nicely at Armattan. So this is the ports. So TBS Smart Audio, it's a TBS transmitter, so you can change all the settings from the beta flight stuff. Configuration, motor stop is turned on. This is that kind of micro style of quad, so when you arm it, everything doesn't burst into life. 8K gyro and PID loop frequency, it seems to be quite happy with that. CPU load is a bit high, but it seems to manage okay. Telemetry output, anti-gravity's turned on, dynamic filter. Now this does actually have a little buzzer hidden away, but I've also turned the D-Shot beacon on just to give me the best chance of finding this if it comes down in grass if I'm flying outside. The PID tuning looks like that. If you're going to build one of these and you're going to be running it on 3S, this is how I set it up. By default, out the box, everything matched my transmitter perfectly, so I didn't have to do anything in here at all. The modes by default were set for stick arming, so set yourself up with an arming switch. Angle was turned on, and so was air mode. On these smaller quads that you're potentially going to fly indoors, having angle without air mode turned on is a much safer way to do it. And then outside you can kind of go into horizon or full rate mode and only have things like air mode turned on for horizon and rate. Definitely recommend turn on the beeper. It does have a beeper in it already, and turning the D-Shot beeper means that the motors and the little piezoelectric buzzer are all beeping away, and that gives you the best chance of finding it. The on-screen display, you're going to need to spend a couple of minutes in there just moving everything around to get it how you want it. For small models like this, I don't like a particularly cluttered display, and you can see here that it's Betaflight 4.1, so very, very current and up to date with all the latest and greatest stuff. So what's it like to fly? Now, I've been flying this on a 3S 550 mAh battery, and it's hovering at about a quarter throttle, so it has an insane amount of power. Now, I've added a throttle curve just to make it a little bit more manageable and calmer for flying in more confined spaces. But this, just like the Gecko, is a very, very capable little model. So this to me doesn't feel like the kind of small toothpick style quads that I've been looking at and playing with over the last couple of months. This looks and behaves more like a 4-inch or bigger quadcopter, and because of those high levels of power, it means that you can get in and out of trouble, and flying outdoors is a lot of fun as well. So in summary, what do I like? Well, I'm impressed that Armattan have come out with an even smaller frame. This only weighs 17.5 grams, and again it's using aluminium this time rather than titanium, but there's an awful lot less mass here to slam into stuff, so you're going to have to work pretty hard to bend those little aluminium pieces. But it does mean that this frame is going to take an awful lot more punishment than something like a toothpick style model. Very, very pleased that it has a buzzer inside. It's only a little small one stuck behind the camera, but these things are really important, particularly if it is powerful enough to fly outside. If you land it in grass at this time of the year that's a little bit longer, because of its size, it will pretty much disappear. So having that buzzer is going to give you a chance of finding it. Again, I happen to turn on the D-Shot stuff as well, so that everything is beeping to make the maximum amount of noise so I can find it if I lose it. Available as a frame, parts kit or RTF. If you're going to buy the parts kit and put it together, check out that screenshot of the tune in this video. That's how Chris has set this one up for me, and it is really nice out the box. Everyone has their own particular preference about tune, but that should get you started if you're going to use all the standard components. It does have an insane amount of power on 3S. Hovering at a quarter throttle means that flying around outdoors isn't a problem at all. But with a throttle curve, you can calm it down, or limiting the throttle, you can make it a lot more docile, and you can fly indoors. But be a little bit careful because there's no prop guards, but more on that in a moment. And personally, I like the fact that it looks, feels and flies like a normal quadcopter, and there's no fragile plastic parts holding my camera and things in place like some of the other smaller quads that I've had a look at. This is a robust little frame that will keep everything protected. There are only a couple of things to be aware of. You will need to plan your build because it is so tight inside. Again, look at those images here to see how Chris has built this one if you're going to build your own. There are no prop guards, so be careful about flying indoors. Maybe you could 3D print something that might work. You wouldn't want this bouncing off the screen of the big TV in your living room. It is a little bit bigger than some of the other toothpick style quads, but it manages to do that and still stay at a very light weight. You will need lots of batteries. The flight time I showed at the bottom of the screen when I was doing the flying stuff is very indicative. Depending on how you fly, it depends on how long the battery lasts. It isn't too bad on the batteries, but I'd recommend that if you're going to get batteries for this, get yourself 4 or 5, because when you go to the field, if you do fly outdoors, you're going to want to keep flying. And the last thing I'll mention is that this frame, just like all the others, is covered by the Armattan lifetime warranty. So if you do break it, you can claim on Armattan and get a new one. And that isn't just if you have bought it yourself. If you happen to be watching this video after the release and you maybe bought it from somebody else and it's a genuine Armattan frame, then when you break it, even if you didn't buy it originally, you can still claim on that, and that is worth its weight in gold. So if you're interested in maybe getting yourself something as a little project that will definitely keep you well under the 250 gram limit, but not compromise as much as some of the other small quadcopters that are around at the moment, then this is absolutely worth the look. Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlists around iNav. So thanks again for watching, and happy flying.